But she thinks about her mom and she's like, it's probably for the best. We'll just like let it fizzle out or whatever. Like she says something about like, we don't need to involve her. Like we can just distance. Hey everyone, welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Nikki.
And today we are wrapping up our Twilight saga reread. And we're finishing this with, of course, the last book in the original saga, Breaking Dawn. But before we get into all of our feelings on the conclusion of this epic, or maybe not so epic saga, we'll see, we'll talk about it. Let's get some info about this book. So, Nikki, why don't you read the synopsis for the listeners?
Don't be afraid, I murmured. We belong together. I was abruptly overwhelmed by the truth of my own words. This moment was so perfect, so right, there was no way to doubt it. His arms wrapped around me, holding me against him. It felt like every nerve ending in my body was a live wire. Forever, he agreed. I'm going to also, just before we jump into things, I have above my head my parents, my boyfriend, my boyfriend's mother, and two Maine Coon cats who have all decided to congregate in the kitchen, which is over my office. So if there are just random noises throughout, I'm not going to stop talking because we'd be here all night. So just for everybody else, when they hear the bumps, that's just what life is today.
You know, I hope we hear some juicy gossip through the floor.
I'm just gonna like hold the microphone up to it, but they're just all really talking shit about me.
The cats too? How dare they?
Yeah, how dare they? I take care of them better than anybody else does.
They're just bitter from their grooming session today.
True.
Well, with all that in mind, this book, boy, I had lots of thoughts, and I gotta say, I don't think that many of my thoughts changed from when I first originally read this book. So, with that, Nikki, what did you give this book out of 5? And did it change for you?
Well, honestly, this time, I probably would have given the book a 3, but I did try to stop reading so much into it and thinking about my feelings too much, because we have been, well, this is the last book, 4 books. We have had a very long season. Our season has been all year. We're coming up towards the end. I'm coming up towards the end of my school, so it's just like tired upon tired upon tired. So I just kind of wanted to get it done. I was like, I know what's going to happen. I do think that some parts of this book were still fun, but like, I think that I gave this book a 4. And I guess I'll keep it there because that was when I was reading it when I wasn't cranky. So I think that's probably my real feelings.
Okay, cool. Well, you're better than I am. I gave it a 3, but now I keep thinking about it and I'm like, is it a 3 because of like nostalgia? Is it really a 2.5? I don't know.
It could be.
It's somewhere between a 2.5 and a 3 for me because like I didn't remember much about this book, but what I did remember was being very mad because I feel like nothing happened. And lo and behold, that's what I felt again.
Yep.
So I just feel like my copy of the book, the actual story part was 754 pages. That's a lot. I did not remember that this book was written in 3 parts or 3 books with different perspectives. So that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, we're going to go through someone else's eyes for a bit. That's fun.
Yeah.
But my God, I said on our Instagram stories, I'm going to say it again. If anyone listening out there is like, oh God, I'm terrified that my teenage daughter will give birth, give her this book, okay? It is like the best birth control you could give because
That's so true.
right? A grown adult, me, reading this book, I was like, do I want to have a child? Like, I don't know. Listening to just everything that Bella was going through, trying to give birth to, sure, a half human baby. I'm sure I won't be giving birth to a half human baby whenever that happens, if it happens.
And you
but
probably
still,
won't have some weird werewolf like imprint on your newborn baby either while he's trying to kill her.
I should bloody well hope not. And also, like, I love Scott, but if there was a werewolf who was going to imprint, I should bloody well hope it would be on me, not my baby.
Yep. Well, you can't always get what you want, and that's what this book showed us.
Indeed. Yeah.
Oh my god. I just feel like the book stretched on. It took so long for her to give birth.
Oh my god.
I was like, could we just push it out already? Or cut it out, whatever. I don't care. I'm just so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I'm sure she's so tired. Everybody's fucking tired. Let's go. And it's just a bunch of Jacob arguing with people in his head. That's it.
Oh my god, like seriously. Like I get it. We're trying to, you know, make it really dramatic and full of tension and whatever. But like, could we be a little more concise here? Because I feel like the first book was the best, in my opinion. The second book was pretty good too, even though I was like, I'm so sad. But then we learned new things and it was kind of fun, whatever. Third book, there were moments that I really loved, moments where I was like, this is kind of slow. This book, it was so slow with like a few little things I liked, I feel like.
Yeah.
Which is such a bummer. And someone I know told me that I need to read Midnight Sun. And I was like, are you sure? Like, are you serious? Or are you just saying that? And she was like, no, it's really good. You have to read it. And so now I'm kind of like, am I going to be suckered into this? I don't know. I need like a little break, I think, before I even think about that. Because Midnight Sun is freaking massive.
Yeah.
And it's only the first book.
Most of it, I would say, from what I've heard, like 85% of it is all stuff that's in the first book, in Twilight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's only a few scenes that you get that Bella is either unconscious for, I'm assuming she's sleeping,
yes.
or it's Edward with his family. I don't really know. But like, yeah, I just went through that. I don't think I could do it again right now. I think I need a year or two to recover.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is.
But well, wait a sec. We got to go back a bit because we missed the big event at the beginning of the book. They get married.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what event?
Right? They get married. Bella and Edward get married and they go on the lamest, most depressing honeymoon I've ever heard of. And it's just like, what? You have all the money in the world. I'm going to put you on this tiny little island that is technically my kind of mom's with these strangers who are going to come in and clean, but like they don't know that we're vampires, but one lady's suspicious and I can't touch you because I'm scared. Like, oh!
But not scared that his like jet fuel sperm is going to impregnate her. He's just scared that he's going to like break her.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't do, but he does break the headboard. And I'm sorry. Like, maybe I'm living in a different sad world, but sex will never be so good that you won't know that someone broke the headboard when you're doing it.
Thank you.
Never in a million years.
Bitch.
I have to fucking concentrate on that shit. And if one thing happens, I'm like, squirrel. Like, it's done. Women know. You have to focus. And if someone broke the headboard, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Mood killed.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Now we're gonna go to IKEA, except we can't where we are. Gotta go plan a trip or pay through the nose to get it delivered and then build it and hope your relationship survives the building of that bed.
Right.
Way to go, Edward.
Yeah.
With your marble dick, you know, like.
What did I call it in the last episode? Like a baton or something?
I don't know. I can't think of it because I just get weirded out the more I think of like this rock. I don't want to be penetrated by a rock. Like, it's just not right. I don't like it. But anyways, poor Bella.
Yeah.
Her honeymoon, she doesn't go get to see Italy because the last time she was there, she was, busy saving Edward's life/not life. And she didn't get to sightsee. Now on their honeymoon, they go to this island off of Rio de Janeiro and they just like lie on the beach alone.
Isle Esme. Also, I hate that name. We'll get more into that when we talk about another character's name. But Esme, don't like it. Isle Esme. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know. That was a real letdown. And it's just like so sad having to read the chapters where Bella's like, Edward, I did what you wanted. I married you. Can you please touch me? And he's like, I want to, but I can't. And then they have sex like twice. And it's a whole, it's not that I'm not saying like, how dare Edward not want to have sex with her. It's the fact that they do have sex. And then she's like, that was great. I'm totally fine. And he's like, I've hurt you. I can't even look at you. And she's like, no, I'm fine. And he's still like all up in his feelings being like, I hurt you.
I know. Like, the amount of mopiness from this old man bothers the living daylights out of me. I just feel like, Edward, could you not be the 5-year-old in this situation? He is always sulking. He is always in a bad mood. Get a grip.
You know who would be great on a honeymoon? Jacob.
Oh, yeah. They would have had lots of fun.
Yes, they would. He was only, he picked that island, because it was cheap, even though he has all the money in the world, and so they could be alone, but also so that Bella could be close to him, because it was so friggin' hot there, and he's cold as ice.
Yep.
Like, Jacob would have been like, where do you want to go? Let's go wherever. Let's go do the things or not do the things. Let's just do each other. Like, that's what Jacob would have done.
That sounds great, honestly.
And then eat. Back to
Team
food.
Jacob.
I love how Bella was like, I'm eating so many eggs. I must be pregnant. Like, what?
I mean, I've never been pregnant before, but I do go through phases where I eat quite a few eggs, and I've never had that thought.
Right? Now I'm going to.
Right? Every time I eat an egg, I'm going to be like, do I want this because I'm pregnant? Or do I want this because I want an egg?
Is she like Gaston? Like, how many eggs is she eating? Because she's like, I've eaten a lot of eggs. Like,
5 dozen eggs?
I mean, she probably was getting to be the size of a barge, so with that baby in her.
Okay, I have something to bring up.
Please
that is okay. Regurgitate is
yes. Okay.
She is fully developed in her mind in the womb. If Bella got knocked up the first time they had sex, and then they have sex 3 weeks later, is she just in there like bouncing around like, oh my god, Dad, stop it?
Ew.
I know, but that was a thought that came to me because when she's born, she's conversing with all of these people by touching them, and I was just like, did she know? And then it made me think of that TikTok audio that's like, she knows, do, 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 do.
I don't know that.
She knows. Like,
I don't know that.
Ew. It just, everything about that baby grosses me out. But that really grossed me out, just thinking about that.
I don't think she would have known, because there was that one point where Bella was still pregnant and Edward was like, oh, I can hear the baby's thoughts. And he couldn't hear the baby before.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she just needed to develop enough in the womb to...
Yes. Which, like, this whole part of the book was very, like, pro-life stuff, which I was like, okay, this is a little uncomfortable. But, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah,
also, every time Rosalie growled
oh my God.
at somebody or snarled or...
She's the next book boyfriend. She growled at her.
Her eyes darkened. Ugh.
Seriously, I fucking hate Rosalie. Honestly. Yep. If I was Edward, I'd be like, get the fuck away from her. Thank you. Goodbye.
I know.
My God.
And then, like, Alice getting her headaches because of the baby and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how any of this makes sense because, again, he doesn't have blood. How does the penis work? What is he shooting into her if not venom? Isn't he just venom? So that's why she's half vampire?
I don't know.
And she's not immortal, but she is, and they don't know, and I'm jumping all over the place.
It's just all very convenient. She gets to basically a full-grown adult size and then stops growing, and she'll just assumedly live forever like that, and she can eat human food and blood. Ugh. And Jacob, as long as he keeps shifting into a wolf, will stay the same age no matter what. Yeah, I don't know. It is just all very convenient and in a way that makes it seem like she had to put a lot of effort into making it that way.
Right?
Yeah.
Make it make sense, Stephenie. Make your vampire werewolf book make sense.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I have a question / thought / topic for you.
Love it.
Lots of slashes. Okay. My coworker, we were talking about this book at work one day, and she said to me that because of Jacob imprinting on Bella's egg, Jacob imprinted on Bella's egg, I had to repeat myself because I was like, oh God. She said at some point, Jacob or Edward must have been attracted to Jacob or the other way around. And I was like, what? Because I guess because the sperm has to find the egg. You know what I mean? And so she was like laughing about it because she's like, ha ha ha. And I was like, yeah, ha ha ha. But I was like, I don't get it. So like, does any of that make sense? Like,
I guess if you're really reaching, because the sperm and the egg do make a full person, but no.
Like, I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't think that Jacob would have been attracted to Edward.
Right?
I mean, the sperm does choose the sex of the baby, but I think that it was more just like a fate thing, like fate pulling them together, and I don't think that it was necessarily he imprinted on her egg, even though I feel like we had this conversation. But yeah, well, because like, I don't remember what my stance was before, but I don't think that he imprinted on her egg.
Okay, I think before you did think that he did.
Yeah, but like reading this book, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I think that's like one way to think about it, and it's gross and it's funny.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking funny.
Because also, what if Bella had endometriosis? Or what if, like, they didn't have sex at that one moment and the egg was released? Would Jacob, like, have never imprinted? I feel like Legally Blonde, like, why now? Why this sperm?
Why this sperm?
Why this egg?
I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very
Also, if
bizarre.
it was a boy,
Mm-hmm.
would he have still imprinted?
I should bloody well hope so. Maybe not. Depends.
Well, I
but
feel like everybody thinks that it's fine that he imprinted on this little baby girl, but I think if he imprinted on a little baby boy, people would have felt a little differently about it.
yeah, I feel like, especially when it came out, and I hate to say it, not gonna, I mean, whatever, maybe it is judgmental, but stereotypically, right, with who it was written by, and at the time it was written, I feel like if the baby was a boy and Jacob imprinted, it would have been like, oh, they're gonna be best of friends, and there would have been no romantic undertones at all.
Yeah.
Which is like, it could even go that way with Jacob and Renesmee now, but it's clearly not. They're alluding to, like, down the road, they will be together romantically.
Yeah.
So,
That's what his big, like, explanation was for Bella,
Yeah.
at least. Like, why would they want to be with anyone else when you're there and you're everything they could ever want? It's a lot of pressure.
yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know how this, like, full-grown newborn baby feels about that.
Right?
It's very bizarre.
Like, she's full. That's the thing that really weirds me out. She's fully matured mentally.
Mm-hmm. And she's
But she's a
talking.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she knows someday what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a baby. And I just can't reconcile that at all in my
I know.
mind.
I know. It's pretty icky, honestly. I don't know. it's just bizarre.
Also, I'd be so worried. What she shows you your thoughts?
Her thoughts.
Her thoughts.
Or like what she has experienced
Yeah.
through your minds, I guess. Like she touches you and then her memories.
You see her memories as your memories.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Yeah.
Right?
Well, at least it's not the other way around, because could you
Like
imagine
Arrow or
like a
whatever.
baby touching you and they get to see all your dirty laundry just strewn out?
I mean, give her the tools she needs to deal with this family.
Honestly.
If
Like,
only.
I really want to know the only reason I would want really a book about Jacob and Renesmee is because I really want to know how she feels about Rosalie.
Right?
Because on one hand, Rosalie's really the reason she's there.
Mm-hmm.
Because without her, they would have just held Bella down and just got it out.
Yeah.
Or whatever they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be grateful for that, but also the fact that they make it pretty clear that Rosalie doesn't really like Bella still. She's just there for the baby. So it's like, I feel indebted to you, but
She's
you
the
hate
crazy
my mom.
aunt. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's gonna be a shit show. Honestly, yeah. I mean, as much as I don't really care about Rosalie, it would be pretty funny to have like one chapter of just like family drama with Rosalie and Renesmee and Bella. Like that would be pretty funny. And Edward being like, "I'm in charge, except not really," you know, like,
Yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah. I don't know.
At the end of this, are you team Edward still? Are you team Jacob? Or are you just team nobody?
I'm team done this book.
Yeah.
But I think I am still kind of more team Jacob than I am team Edward. Even, I mean, like, the character cannot help the way that Stephenie Meyer wrote the end of that, the last half of that book.
No.
So all of that weird imprinting stuff aside, I do think that Jacob would have been a better choice.
Yeah.
A better choice for Bella than Edward. He obviously has some immature thoughts sometimes. Edward is only full of immature thoughts, it seems like. At this point, wow, I never thought I could hate him so much because I was so in love with him.
Same. Same. I think I
Yeah.
kissed a poster once. Like, my friend had a poster, and we were all, like, at a sleepover giggling, because this was before
Oh,
any of us
yeah.
drank, you know?
Yep.
I totally kissed the Edward poster.
That doesn't surprise me.
Who didn't?
I didn't have an Edward poster, but I did have a poster of Zac Efron as Link Larkin in Hairspray. Definitely kissed that one.
That was a good movie. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know whose team I'm on. I'm really grossed out by Jacob and Renesmee. Edward really pisses me off. And I just wish we could go back to Eclipse.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
The hot makeout scene on the
Oh my
on the hill.
God. Yeah, at the tent. And then he's like, that should have been our first kiss. And I was like, whiplash? Like, what is going on?
I know, right?
Oh my
So
God.
confusing.
And then nothing ever happens. He just like leaves for weeks and goes rogue, becomes a wolf full time.
Yeah.
And then he comes back for the wedding to like say hi to Bella. Which, like, okay. And I love that, like, wasn't Edward kind of testy about him being there? I'm like, okay, but you were fine a couple weeks ago on the battlefield when they made out. So,
Yeah.
question mark.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
The wedding in the movie was really beautiful, though.
I don't remember. I don't know if I've seen these two movies, because this one's two, right?
Yeah,
Ugh.
and the second movie is just so dragged out.
Go figure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like this whole like it breaks into this like war scene with the Volturi, and then it flashes back and it's like that didn't actually happen, and it was Arrow seeing what would happen if they fought.
Oh, for God's
And then they're
sake.
like, because Arrow's gonna die. He's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, we're all good here. And they leave. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because, I mean, this book, nothing happened.
Yep. Yeah, they had to
Just
do
a-
something.
Yeah, just a long conversation that took chapters upon chapters, and then they were like, okay, guess we're good to go. See ya. Maybe in a few hundred years.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. I will say I did like the first half of the book, the emotional maturing that Jacob did.
Yes.
So his starting to work more with Edward instead of against him.
Mm-hmm.
Him finally taking time to understand Leah and
Yeah.
the reason she is so angry all the time and why she would rather be with him than be with Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really liked that stuff.
Yeah, same. And him, like, driving to, I think, Seattle, and then he meets this girl, and he's like, maybe she could be the one, but I don't think so. He's like, should I get to know her? I don't know. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah.
It felt like you were in the real world, you know, like in a different
Yeah.
world suddenly. He's like in a new place. But yeah, I liked his section, honestly. I like
I did
being in
too.
Jacob's point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I would. I don't remember liking it particularly all that much the last time I read it. But I think I was just so tired of Bella and Edward's stuff that it was nice to, even though he's still around them and it's still about them, get a little bit of a degree of separation from their situation. You're not spending as much time in the house because, oh my God, what was happening in that house? Nothing. They were all standing around watching her like statues
Yeah.
while she just emaciated herself, basically.
Yeah. And had like a purpley black stomach, like a bruised stomach or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And I couldn't believe that Carlisle, the doctor who's been around for centuries, didn't think maybe we should try to feed the baby some like vampire friendly things.
Yeah.
What a concept. Like, But no, Edward is the smart one. Ugh. I don't think he's that smart. Was it Jacob?
Yeah, because Jacob was thinking, he was like, maybe, oh, she's just probably, the baby probably just wants something to sink its teeth into and some blood. And Edward overhears him thinking that while he's talking to Carlisle. And Edward's like, Jacob had a really good idea.
Does he give credit to Jacob? Okay, at least he does that.
He does.
So it would be like, shut up.
The only part where I actually chuckled was when they're getting her the blood, and it's like he runs up and he goes, clear, and they run back down and they come back up with like a styrofoam cup to hide the blood, because the first time they brought it up it was in a clear glass, and I was like and that was the only time I laughed, which is pretty sad in a book that's this long.
Yeah. I will say, okay, first of all, my cat has found me, so if you hear a meow, it's Theodore. But something that Jacob said in New Moon Eclipse, I don't think in this book, but I kept forgetting to mention it. It always bugged me when he would call Bella honey. I'm like,
yeah,
you're 16, kid, okay? Don't call me honey. I hate it. I hate it. I hate when girls my age or younger call me hun or sweetie. This girl the other day called me sweetie, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm way older than you. I don't feel comfortable. Yeah, like, it was so bizarre. But he calls her honey, which I don't like, but I love pretty much everything else about Jacob, so I will deal. And
those are the only moments really that feel like not his character.
Yes,
because it doesn't seem like something he would say to her.
No.
At all.
No. Definitely not. Like, Jacob's writing was kind of all over the place in Eclipse, because we had all this like work in New Moon of like making him feel like good for Bella until he suddenly wasn't, because Edward's back. And so it was like flip-flopping everywhere. Again, not his fault. He's not real. I know. But, you know, like, it's just like, I'm like, Jacob would never say that. He would never do that. Like, all these things. Right. So when he says honey, I'm like, ew. And also, on that note, the past two books, Edward, I don't know if other people, but definitely Edward, calls Jasper Jazz. And I'm like,
I know. I literally, I was reading on my Kindle, the only highlight I have in this book is when he goes M and Jazz, and I just highlighted it and put ew.
Yeah.
That's the only highlighted part I have in the whole book.
Since when was Edward so informal?
Right?
Doesn't make any sense.
Ugh.
I hate it.
Same.
I hate it. I also just don't like Jasper, but Jazz, I don't like it.
Ditto.
Something else that kind of stood out for me in this book was near the end when they're talking about like, what do we do about Charlie once Bella has transitioned into a vampire?
Yeah.
They're talking about Charlie and like trying to see if there's a way that they can still have him be a part of their lives. But she thinks about her mom and she's like, it's probably for the best. We'll just like let it fizzle out or whatever. Like, she says something about like, we don't need to involve her. Like, we can just distance. Yeah. And I was kind of like, what? Like, very interesting. Her relationships with her parents, it's very odd, especially in a teen book. I feel like we don't see that a lot. Like, she takes care of both of her parents kind of in a way, in different ways. And she's just like, well, I guess I won't see my mom ever again. Oh, well, she's busy with her baseball boyfriend, now husband. And her dad, who's like barely there because she doesn't really want to be around him most of the time because of Edward.
Yeah.
She just like cooks for him and then pieces out. Yeah. But she's like, oh yeah, we should like definitely stay close to him here and whatever. Like, it's so bizarre to me.
I know. And like very convenient for her to like not have a problem being around humans because her willpower is so strong and like.
Can we talk about her power, quote unquote? Like, yeah. So basically she shields herself and then later everyone.
Yeah.
She's like overpowered, can't touch me, basically.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that it's a cool direction to take it after the whole you can't read my mind thing. Yeah. But then I wonder, was that the plan all along? Did she know, oh, like when she's writing Twilight, he can't read her mind and he can read everybody else's. And when she's a vampire, she's going to be able to like shield.
Maybe.
Or is that something that just came up like when they were doing the last book? I don't know. Like, it's just interesting to know like if she kind of plotted that far ahead or thought that far ahead.
I feel like because you had said before, and it makes sense, that Twilight was supposed to be a standalone, I feel like she put something that was interesting in the first book that would make Bella stand out to Edward along with the scent. Right. And then she had to make it make sense. And so she was like, okay, if he can't read her mind and these people don't work, maybe she's just like null and void for everything, basically, or she can make everything null and void. And how are they going to win the fight? She's going to have to shield everybody, right? Like,
yeah,
that's what it felt like to me. And I don't know. I think it's kind of, she did what she could or had to do, I guess. But I also have heard that Bella was supposed to be a self-insert for her.
Yeah.
And so if she feels like, okay, you might have to edit this out. I really want to talk about the whole theory about her being on the spectrum, like Bella.
Right.
Because like there's so many clues that I'm like, oh my God, this is like so, it makes so much sense, or it's so obvious, whatever. And the whole like, I can't read your mind, or I don't understand how you work, like all this stuff would make sense if she's a self-insert. And then later, it's like, now I've got to make it make sense, right? Like her superpower is that she can like, and she's very good at reading people too, even though she can't read their minds. So her superpower is like, I'm tough. I can block people out. I can whatever. Like, yeah, I feel like she had to make it work because she was a self-insert. And now it's like, what do I do with it? You know?
Yeah. I definitely like never thought about that before until you had sent me a message about it. But yeah, I do think that Bella has, this whole book is just like coded with other, I mean, all books are, but not to the extent that this book seems to be like very obvious kind of map lines to real world things. Like there's a lot of the pro-life stuff that stems from probably the Mormonism in Stephenie's life. I mean, I don't know if Stephenie has autism, but
yeah, I don't know
that like she is very autism coded.
Oh yeah, what I know now about
Bella, not Stephenie. Bella is autism coded.
Yeah, Bella. Yeah, like what I know now about autism. As soon as I was reading this book, I was like, oh my God. Like, am I the only one thinking this? And so then I Googled, and it's actually quite a popular fan theory. And there's there's huge posts of like all the clues. And I'm like, it lines up. So I really do wonder if this character was autistic coded. And then at the end, it was like, well, what do I do for her quote unquote superpower? Right?
Right.
I don't know, but I don't think she planned the shielding from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I would have made it something different if you were going to plan it from the beginning.
How, if you plotted out all the books, how did you get from point A to point 24? Because she ended up in a totally different universe.
Oh yeah,
with this plotting, like
completely.
What the hell?
There was no like thriller movie John Grisham ending
right
for this one. It was like,
and
the
I kind of
opposite.
missed it. I wanted some action.
Yeah, literally the one book where we were like, please give us some action. There was none. Because even Eclipse, there was a huge battle. We weren't present for it. All we saw was Victoria and Jacob and Edward. Mm-hmm. The action we got was Jacob and Bella making out, which I was like, okay. But what? Meanwhile, we have... Okay, I really could have done without meeting all these vampires who we're never going to see again.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's like we're having a potluck kind of thing. Like these people from here, whatever. Oh, now it's time. It's time for the battle. And then nothing happens.
Yeah.
It was like a who's who of vampirism. And I'm never going to see you again. I don't know why I should care about Kate and Garrett. I don't. You know, all the witnesses on both sides. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you saw. I don't know what you're going to do. Okay?
Yeah.
Never going to see you again. So, yeah. It was just bizarre.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was added on to the list of unnecessary things that happened in this book.
Yeah. Jay Jenks. I was like, oh, we're going into the quote unquote real world here.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that part at all. Is that in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
okay. So she goes to him, which I thought was kind of cool because it's like Alice was like, you got to go find this guy. I'm not going to give you any info so that it's safe from Edward's prying mind. Like, shut it off, Edward. God, give me some privacy.
Right?
God, what a tool. Anyways, so... If I were him, because also we find out he doesn't just hear one person at a time. He hears everybody at all times. Yeah. Bitch, the headache I would have. Right. I'd be like, shut up, stop thinking. Or I'd be like, work on your goddamn self, Edward. Shut it off. Yeah. Shut it down. Right. Turn it off. Like a light switch. Goes flick. It's a cool little Mormon trick. Anyways, I had to. It was appropriate at the time. But but you know what I mean? So he hears everything. Yeah. So she goes to Jay Jenks, which was kind of cool because it was like, ooh, especially because I didn't remember it at all. So I was like, finally, something is happening. What's going down? But then we didn't really get any info, just that Jay Jenks, or Scott is his name. I was like, Scotty! He doesn't like Jasper and he's terrified of Jasper. And we don't know why. And I really wanted to know why.
Probably because Jasper met him when he was a very young vampire and or not a domesticated vampire and probably attacked him or something.
Oh my God. Do you think?
That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know.
Also, his stare is weird and off-putting.
Jasper? Oh. You'd think he would have made him calm, but...
Right?
I guess not.
Maybe they had shit to do. We need to rile him up.
Probably. Yeah, they're like, we're going to haggle your prices here. Okay, here's a random question on that train of thought. Out of the Cullens, out of the group, who do you think is the cheapest? Because you know... Emmett? Really?
Yeah, I think he orders from the dollar menu at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah, he just gives me that vibe. I think because he's like so bro-y.
He gives me the bro vibe, but like I don't even know what finances are bro vibe. Like I have the money, I'm just gonna spend whatever.
Oh yeah,
that's what I get. But that's so funny.
They're like none of them really seem like they would be cheap. Like they're all... Yeah. I think Carlisle would be the most sensible. Yes. Carlisle and Esme would be the most sensible about it. But
I feel like
if we're gonna go for extreme,
Rosalie would be cheap because she'd be like, I don't want to buy it. You buy it. Or like, you know... I say, you know, these rich people. I don't really know if I know these rich people, but like,
in her mind,
I feel like I have met some. Actually, no, I've served some of these people. The people with money who don't want to spend a penny of it. Yeah, and I get being frugal. That's good, but like, bitch, Rosalie's rolling in it. I feel like she'd be like, I'm not spending that, you know? So like
She'd be like Stacy on Love is Blind. She has money, but she's like, who pays for dinner? And he's like, we could split. And she's like, no, the man pays for dinner. Always. Also, fuck Stacy. I haven't watched the reunion yet, but fuck her.
God, you have to watch the reunion. I am glad that I reread these because I had a great time for like 85% of the time. This last book was a slog, and I had to section it off into chunks so that I could finish it in time because I'm also traveling soon. So I was like, I gotta get this done. It's a big book. I was gonna swear. I was like, you don't need to swear this time. But so I got it done. But like, out of all 4 books, I think the first is probably my favorite, except for the weird thriller ending.
Yeah.
Because at that point, like at the beginning, Edward wasn't annoying me yet. He was still mysterious and very like sensual with his nose going up her neck and everything. Like, I loved that. And Jacob wasn't Jacob. He was just like a little pipsqueak there for hot sec.
Mm-hmm.
Then things got complicated. And I did like some of the complicatedness, and I'm probably with you where I'm more team Jacob, but I still say team Angela because where's Angela? Like, she's the only true friend in this book. So I hope she's happy with Ben. I don't know him, but I hope he's good to her. And I'm still kind of team Angela.
I get that.
So what's your favorite book?
I think Twilight was my favorite. The first, until the James thing happened, so until like the ball field.
Yes.
Twilight. And then New Moon, from when her and Jacob start hanging out with the motorcycles till the end. Those are my 2 favorite parts of the whole series.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I think Stephenie did, a decent job wrapping the series up in this book, but I do think there were some missed opportunities of like, any kind of discussion on the makeout scene, or just like the fact that Bella's like, I'm in love with Jacob, but I am in love with Edward and I will marry him. There was no discussion, no feelings figured out. Right. I think it's like what you said earlier. Everything was very convenient, especially, can't forget maybe this is kind of what it is, like the Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. Probably butchered that. When Alice comes in at the very end and she's like, I brought these people and this other half vampire. LOL, like how?
Yeah.
And how did Edward know and not Arrow and all these things? I'm like, there's a lot of things going on here that I don't understand.
I know. And again, I feel like it was convenience, having to try to like pull something together to make something happen, like, oh, coincidence and stuff. And it just felt lazy at the end, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, happily ever after. The ending, I was like, like the very end. It's like, we'll be together forever and forever and forever starts yesterday. Like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
God.
I do like that she lets him read her mind.
Yeah, that was
I thought
cute.
that was nice. I was like, oh, hello moment. And then I was over it. But
yeah. He's going to be trying to peek back in. Be like, get out of here.
Like, wall.
Yeah. And then he's going to be like, why didn't you let your wall down? You don't need to be in my head, Edward. Right? Oh my God. That's just, I want to see them argue now that they're both vampires. Nice. If it ever happens. Is Bella going to have a backbone now?
Hopefully.
I mean, she does have a backbone, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not only are they both vampires, but they're married. And so for Edward, that means together forever. So there's no divorce for him.
No.
So
I mean, she can't get with Jacob now because her daughter is going to get with Jacob. How dare she? Also, before we go, how could I forget? I have to talk about what is in the back of my book.
Oh, yes.
I have never heard of this. Did you ever hear of this?
No, I have no idea what it is.
I didn't notice until I took the dust jacket off because this is a cumbersome bitch, okay? I'm going to say it. I was going to say it earlier. It's a cumbersome bitch. So,
Yep.
I took the dust jacket off. And then, lo and behold, at the very back, there's a CD or a DVD. I think it's a DVD.
Yeah, I looked at the picture you sent me. It is a DVD.
Okay, so we're going to have to check that out because I don't even know. There's a transcript at the back of my book.
Oh,
And there's a DVD, and there's a picture of some guy from Blue October and lyrics.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought this was like someone put a love note and like a mixtape in the back.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It's like this must have been like some special edition where you got a DVD of a concert or something at the end. But
Maybe there'll be interviews with Stephenie Meyer on it, and we'll finally understand.
well, I don't think she's going to talk about how vampire penises work, but I will watch it to see what she does disclose.
I wish we could interview her so we could ask that.
I feel like if she listens to these, she won't, but if she ever did, she'd be like, yay, they liked it, but also they said some things.
Facts.
I am what I am, and I need to know about how that penis works and how
Yep.
her period works because facts are facts, and a vampire can't get an erection, or he has a perma erection, like you said, Nikki.
Yeah.
So
no,
which is it?
I'm convinced.
Can you imagine watching the first movie again when she walks in the room and he goes like, ugh, and he covers his nose and he's all disgusted? If he had an erection the entire time.
No.
Hold on tight,
Ew.
Spider Monkey. I hate it. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe we're immature, but I need to know.
I know.
How did it work? I am still kind of like, I really wish there was a story about Sam and Leah and is it Emily? I'm forgetting now.
Emily. Yep.
I wish there was that story. I'm also kind of curious about just the werewolves in general. I am a little peckish for that kitchen sink drama of like Rosalie, Renesmee, Bella.
Mm-hmm.
Is Renesmee gonna have like teenage years where she tries to like revolt or whatever? How does that work with vampires? I don't know. Is she gonna be perfect like Bella seemed to be perfect when she became a vampire?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I have lots of questions. I wish that Stephenie would write more. I don't know what Life and Death is about, but I don't think I would read that or the Half-Life thing of Britannia or whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'd read those.
Life and Death is gender swap Twilight.
What?
And what is it? The short second life of Bree Tanner is the young girl who gets killed in Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming it's just when she's in Seattle, like after she gets turned.
Yeah. Which I'm just
until she
like,
dies.
I don't really care about Bree Tanner. No offense, Bree. Lest we forget. But I don't really care about her little book.
Facts.
But so Life and Death, did she literally just gender swap what she already wrote?
I don't know. I had the book, but I didn't read it. It was Twilight on one side, and then if you flipped it, it was Life and Death on the other.
Oh.
And I ended up getting rid of it. I don't know why, but I never read it. But I think it's gender swapped.
Okay. I feel like I might read Midnight Sun maybe a year
Eventually.
from now. Yeah, not right now. I will not read Grey by E.L. James. No desire for
Nope.
that. But Stephenie, if you're listening through all of this, please write something with Jacob or Sam.
And
Please.
also something adult.
Yes.
So we know what's really happening.
Yes. Yes. Bookish ASMR. Stephenie.
Bet that really got him going.
I think I just imprinted to that sound. I did not.
Ew.
Do you have anything else?
No.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. We have had such a blast. I'm going to speak for you as well as me because I think you also had a blast.
That's all right. I did.
Great. We have had a blast rereading this series because what a time. And, you know, it's fun revisiting books from our past, from our childhood. So I had a great time. I hope listeners, you had a great time hearing our thoughts or rereading the books yourself. So if you want to stay up to date with us on our other bookish ventures, you can follow us on Instagram at BYO Podcast or TikTok at Bring Your Own Book Podcast. Until next time, keep on drinking in great stories. Cheers!
Next time on the Bring Your Own Book podcast, a very special Halloween episode. The Masson House of Degener, Texas was like the corpse of an old monster, too strange and feared for most to approach it, much less attempt to bury it.